Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. How are you all doing? Good evening. In relation to Fred, already done, but who will be next? Interesting about Milinkovic-Savic. Simon Stone from the BBC, literally just looking on Twitter there, has said will probably be announced tomorrow, which is good. We'll have another video tomorrow for you for another done deal. Sorry, a little bit late for the live, people. Was just clearing up some nonsense yet again. I do not get it. I do not get. I understand it when the season's up and running that you get the divide about players and the manager, but what I do not get is this absolute cesspool of just people wanting to think that they're right about transfers. We block an account who we think have been told isn't genuine, and they're going mad about it. Surely it's about freedom of speech. I don't want them people over our tweets telling us stuff about it all the time. It's silly, but there we go. Are we actually live? Did everyone get the start there? Because I'm struggling a little bit whether you got the introduction or not. Hopefully we are live. It is live. Anyway, let's talk about Milinkovic-Savic first of all. This is interesting. 2 deals done. What next? Milinkovic-Savic likes Fred transfer. It's a fact. It's true. It's not made up. Fred put his Instagram post out saying he was coming to Manchester United, and Milinkovic-Savic liked it on Instagram. This is not the first time he's done it. He did it in relation to Matic last week in relation to a United story. Now, obviously, you've got to be pretty foolish if you pin your hopes on a player liking a certain post. I think Ousmane Dembele last summer did something around Manchester United as well. But in relation to Dalot, if you missed the bit at this, I think YouTube might have delayed a little bit there, so apologies about that. The Dalot deal will be done tomorrow. That's coming from Simon Stone on the BBC. Medical's been done. Craig Norwood said that. It's just about when they do it. So if it follows like what happened with Fred, it will be done tomorrow. But I don't know where this video started. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a delay there, obviously. But Milinkovic-Savic likes the Fred transfer. He liked it on Instagram. He liked the post on Instagram with his official account. Obviously got a lot of time on his hands at the moment with the World Cup. A lot of times in hotel rooms, etc. I wouldn't read too much into it because of that, but he also did like a Matic post last week. And I'm sure Milinkovic-Savic looks at Manchester United with awe and thinks what a great move that would be. Of course, I've said many a time, Milinkovic-Savic needs to be the next signing for Manchester United, and I hope that we are in for him. There is sort of tentative news that we are. Marcio has said we were not in for him a couple of weeks ago, but we're excited and monitoring the situation, and hopefully that we are doing that, because I really do think that Fred is an exciting deal. I've got something about Alderweireld to speak to you about as well. It's not coming into my ear because I haven't actually got an earpiece in. I just reminded myself. The Milinkovic-Savic deal, I think it defines our summer in many ways. Fred is a massive step forward for me. As I said in the announcement video where we were talking about where he will play, do give that a watch if you missed it, because it wasn't just a Fred signed, it was where Fred's going to go. And he give the great exciting thing about the Fred signing in a sentence is he's quick, he's good on the ball, he's tenacious, and he's something we've not got. And I'm surprised that Mourinho's gone and got it, but I'm really happily surprised because it's exactly what I would want, and I think it's exactly what you lot would want. This is the modern way. You've got to have a midfielder like that these days. You've got to have a quick, pressing midfielder who is good on the ball. And we've gone and got one. And there's no guarantees whether it'll work or not, but we've gone and got a good one. Not easy to get hold of. I think there's a few players around this summer who have similar sort of attributes. Seri at Nice, Fred, Naby Keita, obviously he's gone to Liverpool, and a couple of others. But United have probably gone and got one of the best ones on paper. Brazilian international, done well in the Champions League, we shout to the next. And as I said, good players. I'm laughing at Liverpool fans trying to say, oh, he's been playing in a pub league, because Fernandinho's from there, Willian's from there. So, and they've both gone on to be very, very good Premier League players and are both Brazilian. So I'm encouraged by that deal. But Fred alone will not solve our midfield problem. We must go and get another midfielder. And it's there's two things really. Is that midfielder going to be better, or is that midfielder going to be worse? And I think it's got to be better. And when I say better or worse, it's like Fred's sort of centre of the seesaw. Are you going to go for somebody who's not as high profile as Fred, or are you going to go with somebody who's more high profile? And I do think United have got to go with somebody who is more high profile. JJ's talking about Willian. We're going to talk about the right wing side in a minute. But yeah, I think Manchester United need to go. I've just got to answer this question because it's a good one. Mehrzad Mystery says, is Fred a Kante or a Carrick? No, he's not. Fabinho would be more like a Carrick or a Matic or a Kante. Fred can play that position, but Fred is more of a... He's more box to box. He's got dribbling ability. He's got passing ability. He can tackle, but he's got the skills. He's got the skills as well. So I'm trying to think of a player who's really like him. To be honest, it's difficult. It's difficult because Kante is obviously more defensive and not more offensive. So there's not a lot of players around like that, like I say. But it's exactly the sort of fusion that you need with the defensive skills, but the attacking skills as well. But we need another midfielder. We do need another midfielder, and I think you've got to go better than that. Fred gives us some real quality, real options in there. But what if Matic has another 6 months like he did at the end of the season? What if Pogba has another season like last season? You can't just have Fred, Pogba and Matic and then rely on McTominay and Herrera and whoever else. Fosu Mensah, Pereira, if we keep them. You've got to go and get a star quality player who I believe has to be Milinkovic-Savic. Has to be him. He's available. We've got the money. Go and get him. And you know what? You solve the fact that you've got to get 4 or 5 good players into 3 possessions in the training in midweek, and you pick the best players and they respond, and that's what United need to do. They need top quality. So for me, it would be Milinkovic-Savic. Let's talk about Alderweireld. Really interesting comments came out from an interview today. I think I did read it in the Metro, which is people will say, well, it's the Metro, but they were direct quotes, so they were obviously quoting somebody else. And effectively, he said he's got 2 years left on his contract with Tottenham. More or less saying it's not been the best of times, but he's got a contract. He was happy to play the last 4 games. And we are in a situation where we'll see what happens. But the more interesting for me is what he talked about is that everyone thinks that, footballers have a great life, and they do, but it's not always rosy. He said that he misses Antwerp. He's not spent any Christmases at home. And that's where his focus is. And it made me think, really honest interview from him. A really, really honest interview, because everyone thinks, professional footballer life is rosy. And obviously, he's not going to not like being a footballer, but it looks like he's got a different mindset in the fact that he doesn't like travelling around and he likes to be at home. And it just dropped something in my head, and I might be being a little unfair here because I'd be happy if we signed Alderweireld, but my concerns were last 2 seasons he's been quite injury prone, 29 in August. What you get with him is a top class centre-back who's experienced and Premier League proven. But that honesty from him sort of concerned me a bit in relation to I like him as an individual, sounds really honest and open, but is that what we want for Manchester United? What we want at Manchester United is a strong leader focused on Manchester United. What we don't want is somebody who, I'll come because it's a good move for me, but actually I'd like to be back at home with my family in Belgium. And that sounds... I don't want to sound, and I'm not being harsh about that, because we, especially in relation to, mental health, I suppose. And I'm not saying he's got mental health issues, but what I'm saying is your mental health. Everybody's got mental health in relation to how they feel, what makes them happy. And if that player, if Alderweireld wants, he can be a professional, but actually football's not the be all and end all. He wants to be his family. Well, I applaud that. I just think Manchester United probably need somebody who's going to come and give us total and utter leadership is the word, and focus. And he may well be able to do that, but I don't know. It just left a little bit of a question mark about his love for football, I suppose. And I may be way off, but I'm more concerned about his injury record, if I'm honest. Josh O'Connor says, will Fred help us play more attacking, or is it same old defensive Mourinho? I would like an attacking winger, Bale or Gelson Martins. Thoughts, Mark? Josh O'Connor. I think Fred will make us play a little bit better, yes, because he's more attacking, he's quicker, and he's better on the ball, and he can carry the ball. Raj Aki has made a contribution. Thank you very much. What number will Fred get? I think the best I've heard today, my prediction will be number 8, and Mata will leave. It's not the best, actually. I don't want Mata to leave, but I can sort of see that happening because he's a quintessential number 8. He is box to box. I think that's where we'll see him play. 52 million is a bit much, but in this market it's not too bad, says Devil's Ace. Well, going back to Simon Stone again, he said that it's 47 million, so it's slightly less, which I think in today's market is okay. Part of Jose's recruits who could make an impact for 2 to 3 years. Mark says Man United. Shyam says that Fred shows intent, the new attacking coach, so there is positivity in terms of style of play. And Sam Howes says 52 million is a joke. We could have bought far better for that. I'd like to see... No, I'm not pulling you up on that, Sam. I'd like to see who we could get who's far better than Fred for 52 million, genuinely, because I can't think of many players who are like that. David Alaba or Sandro, says Alex Ferguson. Sandro for me. We need Varane, says Karan. We won't get Varane. I can't see why he'd want to leave Real Madrid. Where does Dalot play, says Panman. I just want to say one sentence about Dalot, because we'll talk about Dalot when he's officially released tomorrow as a Manchester United player. I'm not saying he's been tied up or anything like that, but when he is officially a player. So Dalot has played about a handful of games for Porto last season. He is an up-and-coming player that's been heavily scouted by big clubs. He's not played for Portugal. He's hardly played for Porto. But when he has played, he's played as a left-back, but he's right-footed. Now, he can use his left, but he's right-footed. I hope he's going to be a backup or heir to the throne of Valencia. I do not want him playing left-back next season, understudying Ashley Young, and we sell Luke Shaw, as some people are sort of predicting will happen. That would be an absolute joke. Ashley Young cannot be our left back next season. We will not win the league with him at left back. And Dalot is not going to be our left back either, but I don't want him to be the understudy for that because he's right footed. Let him be right back. That's what I want. But we'll see more about that tomorrow. But I like that signing. I really do. No news on Sandro Wakas. We spoke about him this morning on Transfer Daily. I think it was Fabrizio Romano on Twitter basically saying that no bid at the moment. But it will be, there may be one coming in next week, but at the moment, no. Fellaini's going to AC Milan, says Nizuk's Power. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some little bit more on Fellaini. I think what I'd say about Fellaini is I think we can more or less say that he's definitely going to go now. It's just where he's going to go. Lots of reports out there about Arsenal, also AC Milan, Turkey, China. He's got a lot of offers. I can't see him staying at Manchester United now. I really, really can't. We need a ball-playing centre-back to push our centre midfields up the field, says Night Watcher. Lindelof could do that. Sarim's just asked about Fellaini. He'll get that update now. What is our transfer budget, says James Carley. That was something I wanted to talk about tonight, so thanks for reminding me about that, James. Well, what is our transfer budget? We know we've just spent 50 or 47. We know we're probably going to spend another 20 on Dalot. So that takes us up to 70 million, 2 players in. How much more have we got? Last summer, we spent around 150. So that would mean we've spent half of our budget already. But net spend. Who's going to go out the door? Well, Fellaini's releasing wages. We won't get a fee. Darmian will get a fee, maybe 15 million. Blind will get a fee, maybe 15 million. That's 30 million. So basically, that's the Dalot fee, isn't it? So still 50 been spent on Fred. 100 million left. Still need a left back, 50 million. Would like another midfield, 100 million. It's interesting. It is very interesting because what we've spent already, 100 million left if we spend what we spent last year. If we're going to spend 200 million, 150 million left. Unless we're going to try and make more money by letting players go. Connor Kilsey says, would sign Ronaldo mean Sanchez will leave? I can't see Alexis Sanchez leaving. We're going to have to solve that problem, aren't we? We bought him, we're going to have to solve it. Another contribution from Bill J1. The first two signings look to be quite young for Mourinho, and Milinkovic-Savic is only 23. Do you think Jose's been given funds to sign players but with an age cap? Could have done. I mean, if you listen to the rumours coming out of Manchester United about Anthony Martial, there is a reluctance to sell him because of his age and the potential that he will come back and bite the club on the backside when he goes on to be top class. So there is a reluctance there. And let's not forget, Mourinho is the manager in charge, as we all know. But the club, Woodward, whoever's behind the scenes, they're not totally just doing what Mourinho wants. Because if that was the case, Fellaini would be a Manchester United player. Fellaini came out very frustrated, didn't he, just before the end of the season, saying United have made a mistake. They've made me 3 offers, but they're not good enough. Mourinho's come out publicly and says he wants him to sign. I mean, remember the game where we beat Arsenal and Fellaini scored? Straight after the game, Mourinho was like, I'm very confident he's going to sign. I won't believe it till he's actually signed it, but I'm very confident. And then something went wrong from there. So what did go wrong from there? And if the club totally backed everything Jose said, they would have just given whatever the money it was for Fellaini. So the club aren't going to totally do it because they do have to think about lots and lots of things, which I think is really good. Yaya Toure, says Jordeep, is willing to... I don't want Yaya Toure at Manchester United. You know why I don't want Yaya Toure at Manchester United? Because 5 or 6 years ago, he was probably the best midfielder in Europe, and he was winning titles for City, and he was unbelievably single-handedly doing that job for them. Brilliant midfielder. I thought he'd retired 2 years ago. I didn't realise he was still playing. I mean, if we go and get him, 1, he's nowhere near the player he was in his prime. 2, he's a Man City reject, whatever anybody says he is. And 3, I just don't want the... Obviously, he's got whatever he's got going on with Pep, and we don't need that. And if it's Man City's best midfielder and it's De Bruyne, and he wants to come to United to prove Pep wrong, great. But a finished Yaya Toure, no. It's small time mentality if we want a player like that, even if he is £1 for a year or whatever. If Savic comes in, who gets dropped? Says Paul Bryan. I don't really care, Paul. I mean, leave that to Jose. I don't like it when people say, well, that's our midfield sorted now, Pogba, Matic, Fred. Because we still need another midfielder. So we're just going to go and get Jack Wilshere because he's free as a backup. I mean, I don't think Fred, Matic and Pogba win us the title, to be honest. I think we need another midfielder to keep those on the toes who's top class. I think Milinkovic-Savic, Fred, Matic, Pogba... 4 players competing for 3 positions each week. That gives you strength in depth. That gives you star quality. That's what we need to do. And we've got let's not forget, Fred's a really good signing. But is it a 19 points gap closure? No. Why were United so far off City last year? Because of our midfield. Our midfield didn't get the ball from back to front quick enough. And it also got cut through too easily. So you can't just buy one player for 50 million and say we've just solved a problem that's going to close a 20-point gap. It's not. And Matic, Fred and Pogba aren't going to play every game next season. We need a top class midfielder to come in as well as Fred to give some real competition for places and some squad depth as well. Dalot has passed his medical, Aaron Cunningham, according to reports. And... who do you think is the right player to lead the team that has got guts like Roy Keane, says Master 3D? I don't think that sort of player exists anymore, but somewhere in between would be nice. And I don't really see anybody in our current squad to do it. I think actually outfield-wise, Ander Herrera is probably the closest player to do it. But as Awesome Guy just said, I've got a horrible feeling that Mata or Herrera will leave. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened either. But we don't really have a player out there at the moment who can lead that team. Maybe Lindelof, maybe Eric Bay. I've seen little hints in them that they can do. But they need to be first-teamers and performing well as themselves individually to do that. And let's not forget, captaining a side is difficult. I think Rooney was ruined by it. I think Rooney lost his edge in his fire. And... I don't see Mourinho signing somebody to be a captain either. I just think we're just going to stick with Valencia, and I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, really. Dembele over Martial, Mark, says James Tinker. Which Dembele? Thanks, James. But which Dembele? Usman or Musa? I presume Usman because he's a wide player. I like Usman Dembele, but I would never get rid of Martial for that. Is Savic captain material, says Ronan Wright? I think he would be. In future, Wakasama said, would you sign Sergio Ramos? Well, I wish we'd got him a couple of years ago because he is a leader. He would have been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And Connor Kiltsey says, would you buy a class striker to rotate with Romelu Lukaku? Well, I would, but we've seen how few games Rashford got last year as backup because he wants to play Lukaku every game. So I don't think we would go out and sign a top class striker, no, because Lukaku's going to play way too much. Mr. Accolade says, yeah, if Fred gets injured, we're back to square one. We need another midfielder. We definitely need another midfielder. We needed 2 anyway. And actually, even if Carrick and Fellaini go, Jose was right anyway. I'm only replacing what's going. I'm not actually bringing anybody in. So, you could argue we might need 3. We won't get 3. Valentino says, De Gea captain, please. Don't even mention anybody else. Just very interesting, actually. I did see a video with Fred because he is training with the Brazilian team at the moment because he is going to the World Cup, unlike Fabinho. And a little bit of banter with Neymar, so people were like, oh, Agent Fred. I'll tell you what, it'll have to be James Bond to get Neymar to United. And I'll tell you what, I'd applaud him if he did that. But I don't think we're going to be getting Neymar. With each passing day, I think reality starts to bite about the attacking option. And going back to that great point that we wanted to talk about anyway, about the fee that we might, the transfer budget that we might have this summer. And I mean, Raj Dalakia just says we don't need to sign a right winger if we only play Sanchez on the right and Martial Rashford on the left. Yeah, if we've spent 50 million net, assuming we're going to get rid of Fellaini and Darmian on Dalot and Fred, so that's 50 million of our budget gone. Milinkovic-Savic would be 150 million. Sandro would be around 50. That's 200 million. That's got to be your budget gone. And that's only 4 players. So that's 2 midfielders, a left back, and Dalot is 200 million if you get Milinkovic and Savic and Sandro. And they're the 2 I want. So 200 million. And that would be it for me. I would just go Fred, Dalot, Milinkovic-Savic, Sandro, shut the doors. 200 million spent, that's fine. And keep what we've got and not get anybody else in. If you start talking about Willian, does that mean we don't get Sandro and we put up with using Dalot as a left back? If you get Ronaldo or Bale, does that mean you don't get Milinkovic-Savic? And Willian and Bale and Ronaldo, they'd be great. They'd be great players to sign and you know, we sell a lot of shirts. But I don't want them at the expense of getting a Sandro Milinkovic-Savic. And looking at what we've spent so far, our budget needs to be 200 million just to get Fred, Sandro, Milinkovic-Savic and Dalot. And that would be Dalot for me. 200 million, those 4 players. Unless we've got a budget of 300 million, but we're not Manchester City, we're not Chelsea. We are a club that makes easily enough to be able to spend 400 or 500 million. But we've also got shareholders, we've also got board members, and I cannot see us going over 200 million. So reality is starting to bite a little with me. I think 200 million is what we've got to spend, and I would like Sandro and Milinkovic-Savic to complete that 200 million. Jared Pesserman, thanks Jared. He says, any shot we buy Milinkovic-Savic and then play with a diamond. I have seen people mention that. We could easily do that. Matic holding, Fred and Pogba, Milinkovic-Savic at the head of the diamond with Lukaku and Sanchez up front. That could work. Get your width from the fullbacks, which could be Valencia backed up with Dalot, Sandro backed up with Young or Shaw. Work really, really well. This is interesting, and I'm only going to take this from the live comments, but Pogba West says that Dimarzio is saying there's not been a medical, and a deal hasn't been agreed, which is interesting because Fabrizio Romano, who I understand is part of the Dimarzio team, said that it had been agreed, and obviously Craig Norwood, who is the photographer at Manchester United, said it had been agreed. So somebody's going to say to me now, who do you believe over those people? Which, you know what, I don't ever sit on the fence, but what I would say is that Craig Norwood, the photographer, freelance photographer, is normally very accurate. Dimarzio is normally very accurate. We will find out. I'm intrigued by that. I really am intrigued by that because I don't know. I haven't spoken to either of them and I never have spoken to either of them. I just know that they are good sources for Manchester United information. So very, very interesting. Irving Lozano, Andrew Irving, I would love us to sign him. We won't do it. He's always been a sort of favourite of mine. You know, like you have your own players that you just love to see at United. Metis says that Norwood has a history of being wrong. Okay. And I don't think it was his... I know there is a fake Norwood account, but I don't think it was the fake account because I saw it that put about the medical. Anyway, what are we all talking about that for? What did I say a few minutes ago? Simon Stone said it's probably going to happen tomorrow. Now, he is incredible at being credible. So I think Dalot will be signed tomorrow. And maybe... I haven't seen the tweet from Dimarzio. Maybe that's a fake. I don't know. But what I would say is that it's a nice little timely circle to come back to there because obviously the United Stand has been doing transfer shows since the very start of the United Stand. So nearly, I think this is our 3rd or 4th summer now. And we've always done the shows that we do the way that we do them. Transfer Daily, 7 a.m, 8 o'clock shows and reacting to what we think is good news. Obviously, it's been interesting. The way people are saying about our videos being a little bit clickbait, I think I've heard seen. But, you know, I suppose it depends what your interpretation of that is. But what I would say, and obviously people who've been following the United stand for a long time, is that over the last couple of weeks we've been sort of attacked for saying Fred done deal or Dalot done deal. Well, they are done deals. And I'm not somebody who, in my professional life or personal life, I don't go around tweeting stuff and then deleting tweets. I don't say, oh, on May the 1st, Fred done deal, Alderweireld done deal, Dalot done deal, Ronaldo done deal, this done deal, that done deal, and then I'll go back quickly and delete them when it's not a done deal, like some people do. That's not how I live my life. That's not how a lot of you live your life. When we do a video saying Fred done deal, there'll normally be a question mark after it, and we did do that a couple of weeks ago. But it won't be because I've woken up, put my finger out in the wind and gone, which way is it blowing? I don't do that. I don't make transfer stories up. I've never made a transfer story up in my life. It's always from somewhere. And whether it's from Damarcio talking about it 2 weeks ago, or whether it's the incident in the Shakhtar Donetsk dressing room after they'd won the cup and the captain said he was coming to Manchester, or whether it's Manchester Evening News 2 weeks ago saying he would come and sign after this, or whether it's other people who I take as being credible saying stuff. That's why we do a video on it. So I hope that that's cleared a few things up, because Fred is a done deal today, but a lot of people have known that deal was going to be done for 2-3 weeks. So look, we ain't going to do a video tomorrow morning saying Ronaldo done deal, because nobody knows whether that's going to happen. But with some things, and I've said this to you before, with the foreign press especially, if you follow the right people or you investigate and look at certain websites, you will find information much, much quicker than a lot of the British press, because it trickles down. And what is a headline in the British press may well end up with it being a quote from something from Italy or Spain that's been out for 2 or 3 days. So that's the trick. I don't want to give you too many tricks of the trade, but a lot of you know them anyway. You can find information out in this modern world with things like Twitter and all sorts of things. And you can almost be, and that is why there are a lot of accounts on Twitter that are inside source, or this report or that report, or I've got an inside source. I can tell you for a fact now, no, there would never be a Twitter account on Twitter that's got a United source, an Arsenal source, or anything like that, because the clubs would shut them down. Because you might get one little bit of snippet, but you could never run a Twitter account on, oh, I've got an insider source. It's not true. What it is these people are actually very, very clever people who go around following a lot of people, investigating here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes it's speculative, sometimes they're adding stuff together, but they'll be right more than they're wrong, because actually they know how to sort of pull in information. But we've been proven right many a time, so just wanted to say that, because obviously we've got a fantastic community on the United stand, and people like to try and have a go at it, but the reality is, never have we ever pulled a story out of the window. I've been wrong on a couple, but more or less we're right. And thanks everyone who gets involved, because at the end of the day, it's your community, isn't it? Any news on David De Gea's new contract, says Wakas Ahmed. I don't know why people think David De Gea is going to sign a new contract. I certainly haven't seen anything about that at all. I think people are just taking his quote on Sunday where he said he's happy at Manchester United and think he's going to sign a new contract. I think De Gea signing a new contract is probably going to need a little bit more than a few days between him going off on the World Cup. So I don't expect anything to happen with De Gea till after the World Cup. I may be wrong, but I don't see we've got the time to sort of do that. But I think it will happen. We need Alexandro, Lenglet, Dalot, Savic and Bale, then we can win the Barclays Premier League, says Arnas Ramiki. And I think that's very important. These two signings that we're making with Dalot and Fred are the start. They're the first step, and they're a good first step. But all I'm keeping in my mind, and it's up to you what you do, all I'm keeping in my mind, yes, I like these coaching staff changes. Yes, I like these first signings as a start off. Yes, I like the look that Darmian's going to go, Fellaini's going to go, Blin's going to go, because it's that rotation that we need, getting rid of some of the what people call deadwood especially. But 19 points is what we were behind Man City, and they played far better football than us. Liverpool got to a Champions League final. They played much better than us, and we got embarrassed by Sevilla. So that's in the back of my head with everything we do. We've got a big gap to make up on Manchester City, and this is just the start. What we need is a massive summer. Not 1 or 2 signings. We need 4 or 5 signings in. We need 3 or 4 out, and a whole new mentality in the club. And I think them steps are being made, and they need to continue to be made. And I'm positive about it, but we cannot just accept one midfielder. Thanks, Ross Johnson. Fosu Mensah or Dalot at right back for you, says Shravin. Well, it looks like it will be Dalot, but he's still very young himself. So we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? But I do want to see Fosu Mensah and Pereira used this summer. They must be given a chance. I want them to be given a chance. Pete says he's watched a lot of Fred and he's very impressed with him. I'll always hold my hands up and say I've seen nothing of Dalot, apart from, looking around on Porto fans and websites and things like that, and stats and stuff. I don't look at YouTube clips because I could put a YouTube compilation of me going up the park in different kits 7 times and put 7 crosses in. It means nothing. But in relation to Fred, I saw Fred play twice last season, maybe 3 times actually. And that's where I'm sort of judging him, really, those Champions League games, because that's the high end. And he played well against three or four different nationalities of teams. Played against City, didn't he? I think he played Napoli, Roma, I think Feyenoord as well. So there are positive steps. And as I've said many a times this evening, I am encouraged that he's very good on FIFA JR6, but we can't judge players on FIFA. Thanks, Chowdhury, for the love. But I'm encouraged by Willian and Fernandinho coming from that specific team as well. Dipankar Sharma says, finally Fred is a red. Don't worry, Mark. United stand is more like a family for me. We are always behind you. Glory, glory, Manchester United. It's good. People are talking something. It's always a sign of progress. Yeah, look, I don't write for the Times or anything like that. I'm not a journalist. I'm just somebody who started a YouTube channel with all of you lot. Some of you have been here from the very, very start. And that's why I always say it's your channel, because when you go, I mean, we haven't always had these great graphics that Drawty did, and we haven't always run it this way. It started off as literally a Google Hangout with the background of my spare room and a live comments and a couple of guests, and that's where it started, and that's where it always will be in my mind. 20 people watching on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and look at where it's grown, and we've grown it together. And there might be new people here tonight who are going to stay and become more and more of this community. That's what it is. This nonsense that we are, sources of information or anything like that. Never professed that. What we are is a pool of people, a community that talks about the club we love and are very educated and passionate about the club we love, so that when they make a move, whether it's a sell or a buy, we can discuss it. We can talk about what players we'd like to come in, what we'd like to go out. That's what the United stand is. It's real fan opinion for real fans. I think we used to say that as well. Jake Bullman says he was here well before 10,000 subscribers. Anyway, I think I've covered everything I need to cover. The show's flown by as per usual. Thanks everybody for watching. Please do drop a like on the video if you enjoy it. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. Fantastic, really great community. And I always like days like this. We had the transfer daily at 7 a.m. and we were positive in that. Pogba's come out and had a go at his critics. We knew we were going to get a signing over the line today. 4 o'clock we were live with the Fred deal. Positive. Where's he going to fit in? What does this mean? And then 8 o'clock tonight, where next? Grateful for what we've done today. Where next? This is good. Let's go. So I've really enjoyed the content today. So thanks everyone who's been getting involved with it. And Max Central's been here since January. There'll be some people who are just going to subscribe tonight. You're very welcome. That's the great thing about the community. Everybody will welcome you. Diamond Hunter says, can we see your room without the green screen? You know what? I did the video on my channel last night. Did Skype Goldbridge on my channel last night. If people didn't see it, Goldbridge live stream, just go and watch it. It was really good. We had some really good callers. But I did say I am going to do a video, old school, very, very soon, to show everybody what the United stand actually really is. Because this professional bloody fan channel nonsense really winds me up. United stand is just a fan community, and it always has been that. So we're going to go back to the start. We are going to go back and do a raw stream. Definitely. Live comments, that's what we're going to do. Speak to you all soon. Snaps has just told me about something that I think I've covered, but I just need to double check. So for those stragglers here, thanks everybody for just holding on for a moment. We've hit 232,000 subscribers tonight as well, which I've just seen. I just saw a comment there, 50 million for a B-Tech De Bruyne. Oh, just the bitterness that's out there is hilarious. He's played in the Champions League, he's going to the World Cup, he's Brazilian, and Brazil could probably have got way more talent than most people. He's obviously got a good CV. Of course he could flop, but 50 million for a player like that in today's market is you could probably say is a bargain. Right. James Tinker said, Mark, would you take Pjanic from Juventus? We were linked to him before he went to Juventus. He is good, but for me, no. I compare Fred to Park Ji-sung, says Oliver Banks. I think he's got, I think the work ethic will be the same, but I think he's got more on-the-ball ability than Park Ji-sung, to be honest. But we'll see. And that's it. We've covered all the super chats. So, everybody, thanks everyone for watching. I don't think we will be back live again tonight. So, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. You never know. Something could break, but I'll be surprised if it does. 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, Transfer Daily. And I shall speak to you all very soon. Thanks for watching.